After 2 decades as a financial advisor, I've sat with hundreds of retirees in their 80s and 90s who've shared their deepest regrets with me. What's fascinating is that regardless of their wealth or background, the same regrets keep coming up. These aren't just about money, they're about life decisions that impact everything from health to happiness. Today, I'm sharing the top 10 retirement regrets I hear most often, so you can learn from those who've walked this path before you. Their stories might just change how you think about your own retirement journey. Before we dive in, drop your city in the comments below and hit that subscribe button to join our community of smart retirement planners. Your future self will thank you. And you know what's interesting? The number one regret isn't about money at all. It's about something far more valuable. 1. Health comes first. The greatest regrets I hear from retirees aren't about money at all. They're about health. After thousands of conversations with people in their 80s and 90s, one message comes through crystal clear. You can have all the wealth in the world, but without your health, it means very little. I remember sitting with Robert, a retired executive who spent decades building his perfect retirement portfolio. "I have more than enough money," he told me, his voice filled with regret. "But now I can barely walk up the stairs to play with my grandchildren. What's the point of all this wealth if I can't enjoy it?" Why does this happen? Many people see retirement as a time to finally relax and take it easy. The daily structure of work disappears, and with it often goes the regular physical activity. That morning commute, walking around the office, even just getting dressed for work, all these routine movements suddenly vanish. Within just 1 year of retirement, I've seen active professionals transform into sedentary seniors. Let me share what my most vibrant 80 and 90-year-old clients do differently. They follow what I call the triple 30 approach to retirement health. First, commit to 30 minutes of movement daily. This could be walking, swimming, or even gardening. Second, schedule social exercise at least 30 minutes twice a week, like a tennis game with friends or a group fitness class. Third, spend 30 minutes each day on mental activities like reading, puzzles, or learning a new skill. Here's your action plan. Start by finding your baseline activity level. Choose 3 physical activities you enjoy: 1 solo, 1 social, and 1 challenging. For instance, daily morning walks, weekly golf with friends, and a beginner's yoga class. Schedule these into your calendar just like you used to schedule work meetings. Set up regular checkups, quarterly doctor visits, biannual dental cleanings, and annual physicals. Yes, these might cost more without employer insurance, but consider them an investment in your retirement happiness. Most importantly, track your progress. Keep a simple log of your daily movement, not to judge yourself, but to maintain momentum. Mary, one of my most active 87-year-old clients, still logs her daily activities in a small notebook. It's not about being perfect, she tells me. It's about staying accountable to yourself. As we move into our next regret about early retirement spending, remember this. The best financial plan in the world means nothing if you don't have the health to enjoy it. After all, what's the purpose of saving all that money if you can't use it to live the life you've dreamed of? 2. The early retirement money fear. Speaking of enjoying your money, here's another common regret I hear that might surprise you: not spending enough in early retirement. I know it sounds counterintuitive. Most people worry about running out of money, not spending too little. But time and again, I sit with clients in their 80s and 90s who say, "I wish I had enjoyed my money more when I could." Just last week, Sarah, an 85-year-old retired librarian, shared something that stuck with me. "I spent my first 10 years of retirement pinching pennies, afraid to touch my savings. Now I have more than enough money, but I can't travel like I used to. My knees won't let me explore Paris anymore." Her story isn't unique. I hear variations of it almost weekly. Why does this happen? The transition from saving to spending is psychologically challenging. You've spent 30, 40, maybe 50 years building up this nest egg, and suddenly you're supposed to start spending it. It feels wrong, almost painful. The fear of running out of money is real and valid, but it shouldn't paralyze you. Here's what experience has taught me. Retirement spending naturally falls into 3 phases. I call them the go-go years, retirement to 75, the slow-go years, 75 to 85, and the no-go years, 85 plus. Those go-go years are precious. You have both the money and the health to truly enjoy life. Yet this is exactly when many retirees are most afraid to spend. Let me share a practical approach that's worked for my clients. Start with the 4% rule as your baseline. This means you can safely spend about 4% of your retirement savings each year. For example, with a $1 million nest egg, that's $40,000 annually beyond your Social Security and pension income. But here's the key. Divide your spending into 3 buckets. First, essential expenses like housing and health care. Second, lifestyle spending for regular enjoyment like dining out or hobbies. Third, dream fulfillment. Those bigger items like travel or helping grandkids with college. During your go-go years, consider allocating up to 50% of your discretionary money to that dream fulfillment bucket. Set up automatic monthly transfers for both necessities and fun money. This gives you permission to spend without guilt. Most importantly, review your spending quarterly, not daily. This prevents overthinking every purchase while ensuring you stay on track. Remember, we're talking about enjoying money you've worked hard to save. This connects directly to our next regret about social connections, because many of the most meaningful ways to spend in retirement involve creating experiences with the people you love. 3. The social connection gap. One of the most surprising regrets I hear comes from retirees of all backgrounds, the loss of social connections after retirement. Linda, a retired school secretary, told me something that really stuck with me. I never realized how much I'd missed the simple things, sharing coffee with my coworkers in the break room, catching up about our weekends, even the birthday celebrations. Now, some days go by where I barely talk to anyone. Here's what catches many retirees off guard. Work isn't just about earning money, it's where most of our daily social interactions happen. Those morning chats while making coffee, lunch breaks with colleagues, even those routine staff meetings, they all add up to a rich social fabric. When you retire, this natural social network suddenly disappears, and many find themselves spending days alone without realizing it. The solution isn't just about staying busy, it's about creating meaningful connections in your new life stage. Let me share what my most socially fulfilled retired clients do. They follow what I call the 3C strategy: community, commitment, and connection. Start with community. Join groups aligned with your everyday interests. Love reading? The local library's morning book club meets every Tuesday. Enjoy walking? Join a neighborhood walking group. Next, make commitments. Volunteer at places that matter to you. One of my happiest clients, Barbara, helps at her local food bank every Wednesday morning, where she's made a whole new circle of friends. Finally, focus on connection. Set up regular coffee dates with former colleagues, join a card game group, or take a weekly craft class at the community center. This ties perfectly into our next point about pursuing your passions, because the best friendships often develop when you're doing things you truly enjoy with others who share your interests. 4. The lost travel dreams. Let me tell you about Martha, a retired nurse I spoke with recently. She and her husband spent years dreaming about touring the Italian countryside together. We kept saying next year, she told me, her eyes filling with tears. Now my arthritis makes it hard to walk more than a block, and my husband's gone. All those beautiful places we wanted to see, they're just pictures in magazines now. This is one of the most heartbreaking regrets I hear, postponing travel dreams until it's too late. Many retirees tell themselves they'll travel someday, but here's the reality. Travel becomes significantly more challenging as you age. It's not just about physical limitations. It's about energy levels, health insurance complications, and the simple fact that long-distance travel becomes more daunting with each passing year. Let me share what successful retired travelers do differently. They create what I call a travel timeline, dividing their travel dreams into 3 categories. Must-do trips, years 1 to 5. Hope-to-do trips, years 5 to 10. And close-to-home trips, years 10 plus. One retired couple I work with, the Johnsons, mapped out their dream trips month by month for their first 3 years of retirement. They started with the more challenging ones, hiking in New Zealand, exploring the Great Wall of China, saving easier trips like visiting family or taking cruises for later years. Don't wait for the perfect time. It may never come. Start planning your first trip now, even if it's just a weekend getaway. This connects directly to our next regret about working too long, because often it's our attachment to work that keeps us from taking those meaningful breaks we dream about. 5. Working too long. I could have retired 3 years earlier, James told me, shaking his head. Those were the last 3 years my wife was still healthy enough to travel. Instead, I kept working, thinking we needed more savings. Now I realize I didn't buy more security. I just lost precious time we'll never get back. This regret hits especially hard because it's so common. In my 20 years as a financial advisor, I've seen countless people work years longer than they needed to, simply because they didn't realize they were already financially ready for retirement. Why? Often it's not about needing more money. It's about fear of the unknown and the comfort of routine. Think about this. By age 65, many of my clients have saved diligently for 30 to 40 years. Yet when I show them the numbers proving they can retire comfortably, they still hesitate. Just one more year, they say, then another and another. It's like having a full tank of gas but being afraid to start your journey. Here's my practical advice. 5 years before you think you want to retire, get a clear financial assessment. Run the numbers with a financial advisor. Ask yourself, if I got laid off tomorrow, would I actually need to find another job? Many of my clients are surprised to learn they reached their enough number years ago. Consider a practice run. Live on your projected retirement budget for 6 months while still working. Sarah, a retired teacher, did this and discovered she needed far less than she thought to live comfortably. She ended up retiring 2 years earlier than planned. This leads perfectly into our next regret about pursuing passions, because often those extra working years could have been spent discovering new interests and joys in life. 6. The passion project delay. I always wanted to learn to paint, Betty told me, carefully closing her worn recipe book. I told myself I'd start after retirement, but I kept putting it off, saying I needed to organize the house first or help with the grandkids. Now my hands shake too much to hold a brush steady. She paused, then added, "At least I still have my cooking. I should have started that cooking blog when I first retired." This regret surfaces often in my conversations with retirees, the dreams they tucked away, promising to pursue them someday. Whether it's learning a musical instrument, writing a book, starting a small business, or mastering a craft, these passions often remain just that, unfulfilled dreams. The pattern is always the same. Retirement finally arrives, bringing with it the gift of time. But without the structure of work, many find themselves drifting. They fill their days with routine tasks and television, telling themselves they're just settling into retirement. Before they know it, years have passed, and those passion projects remain untouched. Here's what successful retirees do differently. They treat their passions like appointments. Joan, who retired last year, blocked out every Tuesday and Thursday morning for her pottery class. She told her family these were her non-negotiable hours. 6 months later, she's selling her pieces at local craft fairs. Not for the money, for the joy of creating and sharing. Start small, but start now. Pick one interest, just one, and dedicate 2 mornings a week to it. This leads us to our next regret about financial planning, because often pursuing our passions requires some financial preparation. 7. The missing financial roadmap. I thought having money in the bank meant I had a plan, Mike shared with me, spreading his bills across my desk. But here I am, 10 years into retirement, and I feel like I'm driving in the dark. I have no idea if I'm spending too much or too little, if I'm paying too much in taxes, or if my savings will last. This regret comes up again and again, not having a proper financial plan for retirement. It's not just about having money saved, it's about knowing how to use those savings to create the life you want. Think of it like planning a cross-country road trip. You need more than just a full tank of gas. You need a map, planned stops, and backup routes. Here's what happens without a plan. Retirees either become overly cautious, living far below their means out of fear, or they spend too freely in early retirement without considering future needs. Both scenarios lead to stress and missed opportunities. Let me share what effective retirement planning looks like. Start with the 3 key questions. When do you need your money? How much do you need? And where will it come from? Create a clear income strategy combining Social Security, retirement accounts, and other sources. Plan for different phases of retirement. The active early years might need more funds than later years. Don't forget about taxes and inflation. Mary and Bob, recent retirees, saved thousands in taxes by strategically withdrawing from different accounts each year. A solid plan helps you navigate tax brackets and required minimum distributions efficiently. This connects to our next point about estate planning, because a good financial roadmap extends beyond your lifetime. 8. The estate planning oversight. My husband always handled our finances, Ellen told me, her voice trembling. When he passed suddenly, I didn't even know where our accounts were, let alone how to access them. Our kids had to help me piece everything together while grieving. I wouldn't wish that stress on anyone. This regret hits close to home because it affects not just the retiree, but entire families. Estate planning isn't just about writing a will, it's about creating clarity and peace of mind for your loved ones. Yet so many put it off, thinking they have plenty of time to figure it out later. What does poor estate planning look like in real life? Important documents scattered across different places. Passwords and account information locked away in someone's memory. Family members left guessing about healthcare wishes. Joint accounts that become frozen. Children surprised and confused by unequal inheritances. The solution is simpler than most people think. Start with these basics. Create a master document listing all accounts, passwords, and important contacts. Keep it in a secure but accessible place and tell your family where to find it. Set up proper beneficiary designations on all accounts. These override your will. Have frank discussions with your children about your wishes while you can still explain your reasoning. This ties directly to our next regret about family money conversations, because estate planning isn't just about paperwork, it's about communication. 9. The family money talk avoidance. I thought I was protecting my kids by not talking about money, Ruth shared during one of our meetings. Now my son thinks his sister is getting more inheritance and they barely speak to each other, all because I never sat down and explained my plans while I could. This regret comes from a place of good intentions. Many retirees avoid money talks with family to prevent conflict or because they were raised believing money discussions are taboo. But this silence often creates the very problems they hope to avoid. I see it play out repeatedly. Adult children left in the dark about parents' finances until a crisis hits. Siblings fighting over care decisions because they don't understand the financial situation. Parents struggling alone with bills because they're too proud to ask for help or advice from their financially savvy children. Here's how to break this pattern. Start with small conversations over coffee, not big family meetings. Share your values before your valuables. Explain the why behind your decisions. One of my clients hosts a yearly family update where she shares her retirement goals and plans with her children. It's become a tradition they all look forward to. 10. The Social Security timing mistake. I never realized how much I was leaving on the table, admitted Carol, who took Social Security at 62. Those early checks felt good, but now, 15 years later, I'm getting $800 less every month than I would have if I'd waited. That's nearly $10,000 less every year for the rest of my life. This regret haunts many retirees because it's a permanent decision that affects their entire retirement. I regularly meet retirees who rush to claim benefits early, thinking a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. But they didn't understand the long-term impact of their choice. Why does this happen? Many people focus on the short term, getting checks as soon as possible. Others fear Social Security might run out. Some just don't realize that waiting can increase their monthly benefit by up to 76% if they delay from 62 to 70. Here's what savvy retirees do. They create a bridge strategy. If you can afford it, use your savings to bridge the gap while letting your Social Security benefit grow. Consider this. For every year you wait after full retirement age, your benefit grows by 8%. That's like getting a guaranteed return on investment that lasts your entire life. Think about Social Security as longevity insurance, not just a monthly check. The longer you live, the more valuable delayed benefits become. These 10 regrets I've shared come from real conversations with retirees who've walked this path before you. Their message is clear. Retirement isn't just about having enough money. It's about using your time, health, and resources wisely to create the life you've dreamed of. Don't wait for tomorrow to start planning your best retirement today. Let me know in the comments what resonated most with you, and don't forget to subscribe for more retirement wisdom that can help you avoid these common pitfalls.